made earlier. So here's a fire that I made earlier in segments that so that I can pretend I know what I'm talking about.
Disabled, yeah, this is Innes come to help me. She's part of my pack. As soon as I sit down, obviously the wind's going to change and all the smoke on my face, but the minute the wind's coming this way. So behind it, I've got a good hour at least of fuel stacked behind it, and that makes a chimney that will make the wind flow in this. And the thing about fires, it's not about the wood, it's about the gaps. It's the air and flow and the radiation of surfaces is what fire is.
So that'll provide a bit of padding while I finish episode part 2. Jimmie the Pirate has waived his right of reply because he's too damn lazy. So, well, it's proving to be a long night on a long day. I've been confused of my tidying because my ability to understand what is around me is very limited in truth now. I didn't leave everything tidy enough. Now I can't find anything at all. I've broken 2 phones again. And I dropped the laptop, but the screen's knackered, but it hasn't fallen off because I'm still in the game basically. But I can't do this again. I'm just in pieces. Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's not going so well on the brain injury front. Obviously, we weren't expecting nothing to happen, were we? It is not my worst case, but it is a case that I had prepared for. Remember those words from somewhere? Yeah. So my understanding of what's going on around me now is like I do understand, but so what? What's it got to do with me, as it were? I'm still functioning fine, but I don't know how people do this, frankly. Like if it was your life. But I'm completely autistic now. Okay, I'm completely autistic now. I'm right off the far end of the spectrum. And that's that. I simply can't understand what's happening with people. It has to be absolutely dead straight, really clear, everything. Very simple, very quiet. One conversation. One person speaks. They end. When it's me, I feel to speak. I need to speak for 15 minutes, give you all the information. I'll stop. Now you can talk. If you speak, I can't remember anything, so the whole subject's gone immediately. That's the end of that. But my actual mental capacity disintegrates utterly. If I step out of my my groove, my speech is reduced to about 1/10 normal speed, and my understanding of what's going is effectively zero, really, I suppose, in all truth. Any emotional interaction whatsoever is a total collapse. As soon as I get back into my own thoughts, and it all springs back again instantly. So it's like half of my brain just completely broken now, but the other side's fine. So if I just use that, it's lucky I'm like really into my memory and all that. Otherwise, yeah, I think we wouldn't be going quite so well now. But all this planning that I've done here, it was a thing I had accounted for. So anyway, yeah, it's not easy, but all the preparations that I've made are working out well. I think without this plan, I'd be in a care home now, basically, and that would be that. But they'll not keep me alive. Once in the family. I'll take a little break.
When you've made a fire, you've normally got other things to do. So as you're going to see, so long as once I start it, I'm going to cover it, walk it away. I'm not going to touch it again. I'll go and do something else, make the cooking or whatever. It better start, or I'll look like a plum. Man. Charlie is an expert survival thing.
So he's back. Weeping is not crying. Yeah. But really, it's much worse now than it was even on the first day I was in the hospital, because when my voice slows, I'm not going to do a pretend of it, right? Because you can imagine I actually don't want to be there. If I record it, I will definitely show you it's bound to happen. It's yeah, I mean, it's much worse than it was at the beginning at any point. Obviously, my main concern is like at the worst possible case, I might have 3 more months. I know it sounds terrible. I was like planning on 2 months, but I like my sort of mathematical curve that I work out for 3 months looks like, oh yeah, that doesn't look very useful at the end, does it? Sometimes it's better not to think so much, don't you think? It'll be fine. My nurse says I'm doing great or badly, and she would never just humor me, would she? Oh no, no, no. Anyway, so what am I doing? I can't even remember. I've forgotten what I've done. Oh, hang on, give me a second here. I have to come back, so I can't remember what I've done.
Try and make a little, like a little keyhole sort of thing. But I can hardly see what I'm doing, frankly. But there's a bit fire. Fire's going. Go. She's off. Right. So the concept then is like, behind these great big ones, obviously useless for starting a fire too, but it doesn't mean you can't have them there ready. You see people make a huge pyramid of sticks, but in 10 minutes it's all gone. You need the fire to work her way into the stuff, and then, like, as I say, you can go and do something else, hunting. Oh, that's good. Okay, so the time is, well, the sun's about there, and we'll see how long the fire lasts.
All right, no, I've got it now. I can't remember what's happened today because there wasn't anything. That's why I can't remember it, because the board says there's nothing. So that's why I can't remember it. It's like I've got a sense of humor, right? Because, yeah. Right. So anyway, I did last night. I stayed at the woods because the wind had dropped. And I was lovely, so obviously assaulted a few brambles and whatnot in the normal way, but I was too lazy to do any filming. Anyway, you see, I can't stop sniggering now. Immediately, I've lost all control. Jimmie. It's the same story. It's the same voyage. I want you to bear this in mind, right? I'm not talking about a lifetime of sailing. I'm talking about one voyage. So I know about the Virgin Islands bit, but I don't get the La Coruna bit, because I don't believe what you're telling me, because obviously I'm perfect, right? So here's my version, right? We've been in La Coruna for a couple of days like normal people. And the night before, we'd all go drunk. And also, I always dump you lot because, like, I've got sophistication. I go to, like, good bars. Or ones, you go to ones that let you in, don't you? And there was a band, and there was loads of, it was really big and packed. And then at the end, it all went empty, and all the customers left, apart from Nick and the owner and the other owner. And I stayed there until dawn, as you do. I've never met them before, but so what? I was fine until it came to, like, sensible time, 15 minutes before dawn, and it's time to go home. I took 2 paces, clapped, smashed my head in the ground, and then I woke up again shortly after. I knew something was wrong because I was now face up. Always a bad sign. They seem to have some opinion that I was choking to death or something completely ridiculous like that, because in some sort of throat hold. Right, I can tell you this. You don't want me to wake up when you've got your hands around my throat. That's not a good idea, right? But I was with the plot. Okay, and I was he's alive. I think, he's not attacking me because he's not dead. This is my version of it, anyway. 15 minutes.
cracking fire.
So that was fine, right? And I remember there was a hospital. I definitely remember there was a hospital in the equation, right? And then later on, I came back, didn't I? And then we went shopping, and you kept going on about Russians, and I was ignoring you. So I don't know what the Russians have got to do with it. Well, so that's my version. But you got this alternative version, right? I was absent for an entire day. It's obviously not the case, because otherwise I wouldn't have been there. Because if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have been there, would I? So I obviously was there. So his version is basically I was absent for a day. Now, I have considered, like, powers. It seems quite awesome that I was able to become completely sober within 3 hours, Jimmie. But who are the Russians? You keep saying the Russians. What Russians? I remember another time Russians came in on a boat, and the three guys basically walked along the dock, stopping at every boat, asking any reasonable looking woman how much they would charge to sleep with them. And they were going along offering £100,000 to any woman that would get naked and go with them right now. This is the people's wives and that. Russian one. But that's not the you don't mean those Russians, no? So who the hell are these Russians? He won't tell me what. I don't even know what the Russians are, except that I was late or something. Like, stop moaning, but deal with it. But what Russians, Jimmie? Because I remember when I saw you, you looked agitated, and you kept going on about Russians. But what happened?
20 minutes.
I know you can't communicate like a human person, so get in your boat, sail offshore, and use the satellite phone, because you'll think you will see, and then you'll be able to communicate like a normal person, and then you can tell me, who are the Russians? Yeah, so obviously after an eventful trip across the Atlantic where nothing else had happened the whole way along, no where we went, we finally arrived in the Virgin Islands. So whichever night it was, obviously we have to have a night out. It's compulsory, right? So we did. And I went back at some sort of quite reasonable time, I imagine, because nothing seemed to have happened to me on that night.
Half an hour. I've been preparing sticks for future fires, and I left a great big pile, and Tom's used them all, but that's great because it means he was here.
Yeah, so Jimmie's had a fine night out, and no doubt because the information is still partially classified, apparently, but yeah, like we don't know Jimmie, right? Yeah, so Jimmie's gone out, he's disappeared, and that's fine, as normal. And he was there in the morning, so obviously nothing happened. So Jimmie's met some friends, and he's gone to the north coast of the island, which is not so far away. Maybe it's like, 5 miles or 6 miles. I don't know. It's not very far to get to the other side. And there'll be some different beaches with some different bars and such like. So Jimmie's headed off. I think, it was the North Coast beach, the bigger one. And he's with some people and such like. And then he's there and everything starts to close and then everything is closed and Jimmie's still there with a few friends. But he fancies a bit of a swim, because what a lovely trip he's had all the way along and it's been so uneventful. So Jimmie goes for a bit of a skinny dip. Perhaps some other people. I don't have the details classified.
That's a nice shot because it shows the firehouse doing its business. 40 minutes now.
So when he came back, obviously we're getting quite late now, so definitely time to get his lift back to where he was. But where are they? And absolutely everybody else. And his clothes, phone. Money, cards, shoes. He's completely naked on the wrong side of the island on a completely empty beach. Undaunted, our heroes sets forth undaunted, for the short stroll back to his home on the other side of the island, where there's a town where people are. But there's also people absolutely everywhere else, because the bars might be closed, but the locals aren't closed. They live there. They like it in the nice, cool in the night, isn't it?
So, just over an hour. There's bone dry old branches and there's a stiff breeze, so they wouldn't have blown into the creek and that. But as you can see, I haven't touched it whatsoever. It's tensed off itself, so whatever you wanted to do, you'd be ready. But what I'm going to do now is make a great big fire and get drunk, basically.
So Jimmie strolls manfully and nakedly across the island, abused, cursed, and disdained by all that see him. Does anybody help him? No! Don't be ridiculous. Who would do that? They phone their friend up the road to come out and have a look at the naked white man. So after some miles of utter humiliation, Jimmie finds an unguarded car. Breaking in by force, he finds some t-shirts or something and is able to fashion an ad hoc skirt with almost everything now covered. Jimmie succeeds in returning to his home without being arrested.
There we go, that's more like a fire. See, all the branches are facing the same way, stacked up. A tidy fire is a manageable fire.